travel west to take on the Rams. In America's Game of the Week on Fox, Tampa Bay could be without wideout Antonio Brown. Brown tested positive for COVID-19, leaving his status up in the air for Sunday's showdown. So, Shannon, how big of a loss would this be for Tom Brady?
Skip, I don't believe it'll be a big loss. They signed AB last year, Skip. If something happened to Chris Godwin, AB could step in. Something happened to Mike Evans, AB could step in, and they still would have two really good, great receivers. Now that AB's out, I mean, where's AB on? Now, we're not talking about Pittsburgh AB. He's at a different stage, and he's asked to do something entirely different. Now, this is not Arizona being without DeAndre Hopkins. This is not Green Bay being out without Tay Adams. This is a whole different ball game. He's way down the list, Skip, as far as importance of offensive players. Obviously, you go Tom.
Way down the list?
Yes, of importance on offensive players.
God. What Bucks have you been watching?
So is he more important than Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk, the offensive line?
Yes. He's the second most important player. I'll wait until you finish.
As I was saying, you look at the first week, he had, 10 for $120. That's 8 when he was in Pittsburgh. Skip, and he had a sensational game in week 1, and then he follows that up in week 2 where they didn't need him that much. So for me, when I look at it, Skip, I look at this, they still have, there are very few teams that still have, if they lose their third receiver, that's what he is, their third receiver, they still have 2 Pro Bowl receivers that are in their prime. And you can plug Scotty Miller. You like Scotty Miller. You like the Johnson kid.
I love Scotty Miller until AB came midway through the year, and I said, whoops, that's the end of Scotty. I told you, that's it for Scotty Miller.
Yeah, but Skip, they're not going to ask him, can he give them, Scotty, he good for one D, but he coming off the bench. Skip, he that guy, 6-man coming off the bench, light you up right quick, go back to the bench.
End of half at Lambeau versus Packers. What happens? Kevin King.
You remember the Raiders? What did he do right before the half?
Right before the half. Whoops.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what Scotty's looking to do.
If he can give me one of those Sunday, I'll take it. Just one.
Bet you would.
End of half.
But also, Skip, he's big on third down. He'll get you a key third down, just like the Johnson kid.
Now you're singing the praises of Scotty Miller.
No. But I'm just saying.
I used to tell you that last year, and you would laugh at me. Scotty Miller.
But all I'm saying is, Skip, is that, look, if this was AB of Pittsburgh, where every week we know AB's going to get 15 targets, we know every week he's going to get between 100 and 120 yards, he's going to give us a tub a game, okay. But, Skip, that's not where he is now. So I don't believe it's going to be that. I don't believe it's going to be the factor that maybe you think it is. Because even if AB was there, I was going to pick them. And even though he's not there, I'm still going to pick them.
Well, I guess so.
Nah.
Yeah, without AB, you're sitting pretty over there.
Hold on.
Way to go, Shannon.
Hold on, don't do that. Don't do that. Because yesterday, I did not know AB had COVID. We didn't know AB had COVID until late this afternoon.
Yesterday, you're scared. Today, you're front running.
I'm scared. I heard already.
And you're trying to poo-poo it. It's no big deal, no big loss. They got all kinds of other baloney.
Let me ask you a question before you go. How scared am I if I bet you 10 cases they're going to lose their next 2 games?
Well, you had one in your back pocket. You got Bill Belichick, the greatest coach ever. Waiting in Foxborough, right?
And I got the boy Jr.
Yeah,
Sean
the boy
McVay.
Jr. Oh, I thought you were going to say Mac Jones. My turn. Shannon Sharp.
Yes.
When I glanced at my phone yesterday and saw this headline, I was like, God, it happened again. And the painful irony for me is a very high-placed Tampa Bay Buccaneers source told me right before the year started, and I told you right here on the show, that Tampa is viewing this whole season as the year of COVID. Not last year, when obviously everybody's goal was to try to avoid COVID, but at least they were kind of in bubble situations last year where you're kind of staying within your team framework, and now you're free to roam. And the Buck source told me this will be all about COVID. Who can avoid, who can dodge the COVID bullets all through the year, right?
From key players.
Key players, because every other day we get somebody. Now I got Keanu Neal, my Dallas Cowboy, the safety turn linebacker. COVID. And again, all these guys have a chance, as Randy Gregory had a chance last week to have 2 negative tests. And yet, have you yet heard one guy pass the protocol and get to play? Because once you go on protocol, you're done to me. You're not going to get out of it.
They ain't trying to risk it.
They're not going to risk it. You were done. And the Saints coaching staff, and you can't tell me this didn't have some impact on that game. They lost 5 coaches last week.
Well, they had like 9 out.
9 out.
Skip, you only have 15 coaches, so you'll stay on the sideline like the running back coach might be the receiver coach
here
and helping with special teams.
Okay, so it is the year of trying to dodge COVID. And all of a sudden, the one guy I didn't want to lose is gone to COVID. Antonio Brown has become, or was always, Tom Brady's favorite receiver. He loves to throw the ball to this young man who's now middle-aged, but he still has kid energy about him.
Right.
And yet, you pointed it up. What happened against Atlanta last week? Tom is genius level. He is actually playing it game by game in his mind, playing chess from this week to next week. He wanted to keep the targets low to Antonio last week against Atlanta because it was a game they should have won. You could argue it's the easiest game on their schedule versus this week is the hardest game, I think, by far on their schedule. I predicted 20-0, but this one looms as this is the roadblock.
Right.
You have to travel coast to coast all the way to Los Angeles to the Super Bowl site to play a team that very well might be the best offense plus defense team in pro football,
you can make that case,
If you combine the 2 units, there's nobody better. Even Kansas City or whoever you want to throw up in there, nobody. Even the Buccaneers aren't quite as good as the Rams on both sides of the ball, right? Okay, so this is a huge clash. This is a showdown, and I believe that Brady was playing chess like, I'm going to save AB's legs against Atlanta, a team we should just crush, and they finally crushed him. It took a while, and he's going to catch only 1 ball for 17 yards because next week I'm going to feature Antonio because next week I got Jalen Ramsey on Mike Evans, and it's a long, hard game for Mike Evans, right?
Yes.
I mean, in fact, Brady's smart enough to know I can't really even try that very much, even though Mike's pride's going to call from he'll get 5 or 6 targets.
Yeah, you got to throw him some way, Skip. He just can't go out there and just be running some decoy routes.
You can't just ignore him. But I hark back to last November 23rd at Tampa on Monday Night Football. What happened in that game? Antonio Brown caught 8 balls for only 57 yards because they were just playing great defense. But guess how many targets he had in that game? 13 targets. That led the team in targets. 13 targets. And he was fairly newbie to the team. He just joined the team. And Chris Godwin had 10 targets and Mike Evans had 9 versus the Rams a year ago or last year, November 23rd. So this is why I thought that my fire starter was going to be Antonio Brown. That's the guy that they wouldn't have an answer for because you can put him in the slot and you can terrorize them because they lost a couple of their safety and their slot corner went to Cleveland, right? So I'm thinking maybe I got a little advantage there. And so when I bet you on this game, my thoughts, my fantasies go to, wow, I got AB. He might catch 10 or 12 balls in this game because you better because guess what the other guys do? They go crazy against the Buccaneers because look what Cooper Kupp did last year at Tampa. He caught 11 balls for 145, and it seems like every week he catches 11 for 145, and Robert Woods caught 12 for 130 last year at Tampa. The final score was closer than it should have been. It didn't feel like a 27-24 game.
Goff had a couple of turnovers that kept Tampa closer than what they should have been.
He threw 2 picks. He did, but he also threw for 376 and had a QBR of 80 on a scale of 0 to 100. That's a big-time QBR.
Well, considering that you turned the ball over twice and you have an 80, because remember, Skip, the first game, Tom Brady was in the 60s with 2 turnovers.
He was.
This kid was 80 with 2 turnovers.
80, and now you have upgraded to Matthew Stafford, right?
Stafford.
You got Matt Stafford bootlegging and dealing, right? And you got Bruce Arians has said recently that the one guy I go out to watch Warren